All right, we back at it. Chuck Dizzle, live and direct, man. Keeping it homegrown as always. I got the LA baby in here. Dazy Lyn
What up?
has made it. She's arrived.
I'm here.
She had her baby, y'all.
Ooh,
LA baby
I'm so excited.
is out right now. Yo, that was a hilarious video.
You liked it?
That you posted.
Thank
yeah,
you
man. You and
so
FIFA
much. Thank
kicking
you.
it off. Shout out to FIFA, by the way.
Yes.
Latino gang, man. Shout out to my family over there. But you referenced this project as your baby, and I think that's such a great way to put it, man. Talk about finally delivering it. It's out there. What are the first emotions that you're feeling? Because I know this is a huge thing for you. You know,
Relieved.
Yeah.
Relieved. There were so many little baby obstacles when it came to this release.
Mm-hmm.
That was really frustrating for me. Like, I have to just keep it 1,000.
Yeah.
And like, it kept getting pushed back. And there was some point, where I was like, I never give up.
Yeah.
I never give up, right? But I was just feeling defeated. And I was just like, fuck, like, why is things
happening,
always
right?
getting in the way, and like, certain shit happening, and I was just like, no, we gotta stay positive.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. I gotta stay positive no matter what. This is gonna come out, so don't sweat it. And the day that it came out, I swear I was so much nicer to everybody.
It's like, it's finally here.
I was on edge
Yeah.
for a minute. I'm not gonna lie to you. For like 4 months, I want to say, just on edge, constantly
Really?
having something on my mind, weighing on me, being very irritable. So it was like any little thing, I just kind of like
Set it off, right?
just
But it's finally out there, man. I think you're one of the people that, when I ask people about, who are you looking forward to, who are you listening to, your name pops up in a lot of circles, and a lot of people have great things to say about you on and off the mic, man. I want to talk about who Dazy Lyn is, because to some people, you just popped up out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I sure did.
And I want to know your story, because even at the your release party, or your listening, you talked about just having this knack, and even in the beginning of the project, you kind of referenced that, like, yo, get this music a try. Like, so talk about wanting to do that, being inspired by hip hop first and foremost, but what made you say, all right, I think I got what it takes to turn on the mic and do my thing?
I mean, honestly, I have to give all the credit to ayahuasca. I talk about ayahuasca all the time, because that was something that really saved me.
Now, for the people that don't have any clue what that is, break down what ayahuasca is and what led you to even want to do that.
I was having a very dark moment once again in my life. I feel like I've been plagued by dark moments throughout life, just like a lot of us,
Right.
And there was a moment that I was about to turn 30 years old, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm here again in this mindset. I can understand being in that mindset when I'm struggling as, like growing up as a teenager, in my early 20s. I get that, because it's like,
You're supposed to struggle. That's
when you're financially struggling too, when you're emotionally struggling, when all these things are just against you, it's such a natural feeling to feel depressed.
Yeah.
But at this moment, I was bawling. I already had my salon where I was doing hair. I had been a hairstylist for at least 5 years, probably. I was doing exceptionally well.
Wow.
I was the first curly hair specialist in LA, and I was booked for months. When I tell you that if I had my books open all year, I would have every single appointment booked up for that year. Yes, at that moment, it was insane. The amount of clients, or the amount of volume of people that were looking for me, insane. But I was going through a very dark time, and I couldn't understand it. I was just like, what's the problem now? Like, now we're not worrying about what we're going to eat. We can buy shoes now.
You're not in survival mode.
We can, like, I'm chilling, I don't have to worry. Like, I eat whatever the fuck I want to eat. I buy for my friends too. Like, before, my friends used to take me out to eat, and they'd be covering my tab. And now it's like, oh, I got it. I got it. Right. And when I was back in that dark place, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I need something, because it was really hard for me to just wake up and live life. Like I was going to work, and you know, there was a situation going on with my mom at the moment that I just it brought me right back to me being this little girl, the adolescent Daisy, the, you know, just dealing with all that bullshit again, you know. So it really brought me out of this happy place, and I was like, yeah, I need help. So I had heard about ayahuasca.
I was gonna say,
I had heard about it
referred to you, or like it was
when I was 24 years old or 23. I had this little boyfriend, and he told me about it. And he said, "We gotta go and do ayahuasca." So what's that? And he was like, "Oh, we go to the jungle and we drink this tea and we have this like spiritual experience and awakening." And you know, he explained, you know, the stuff that it does to you. And if there's something about me that people need to know, is I'm more on the spiritual side than I am on this side.
Facts.
Since I was a little girl, I've always been on that side.
I almost introduced you as like part-time rapper, part-time dog whisperer, or like spirit. Like you have this,
psychic, and like
you
all
got
kinds
this,
of some more shit. Yeah, like I definitely have always been on that side. Like the connection is undeniable. I've always felt a presence with me since I was a little girl. I've always had this voice that's been with me too, that I now know as the voice of like, it's like the higher self, right? And that's where a lot of my psychic abilities kind of come from, because I don't ignore that voice.
Yeah.
You know, anytime she's talking, I'm like, all right,
what you got to say?
What's the download?
What's tea?
You know, so when he told me that, I was like, immediately, yes,
right,
we're going.
Yeah.
We break up within 6 months, you know, and somewhere down the line.
So you guys didn't do it. He just introduced it.
No, he just
got it.
And
got
see,
it.
that's the beauty of life. A lot of the times we just come across somebody for a moment just so that we can receive that download.
Wow.
And maybe it's not important at that moment, but down the line, it's going to spark something in you again, you know, when you're ready.
Right.
Because people have always told me that ayahuasca calls you.
Wow.
And I definitely felt that call.
Really?
Yeah. So what was crazy is there was this influencer who was in, I don't know where she was at, like Colombia or something. She was in some foreign country. And she comes to LA, and I had been following her for a while, and she was on her spiritual stuff, you know, working with herbs and doing certain things. And I was like, oh, I like that. So I start following her. I find out she's in LA, and I sent her a message, and I'm like, hey girl, like I specialize in curly hair. You know, if you want to come in. She had super, super curly hair. And luckily she said yes. She's like, yeah, you know, I've been needing a haircut. She trusted me. She comes in, we get to talking, and she's like, in 2 weeks, I'm leaving to the jungle. I'm leaving to Peru to do ayahuasca. And I was like, wait a minute, I've heard of this. And I was like, I don't mean to be too forward, but can I come with you? And she was like, yeah. She's like, there's a whole group of us coming. You can come. And remember, I'm balling at this time. So I was like, easy. Like, I'm closing my books, you know, and we're booking this flight. And I was out in Peru within 2 weeks, right before my birthday. I think I was there the week of my birthday. So my birthday is July 14th. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I was there during that week, celebrating my 30th birthday. And I mean, the amount of wisdom and knowledge that I received is life-changing. You know, she made me sober. That was one of the things. I healed a lot of childhood stuff. Healing is like this, up and down, right? So it's like you think you're healed, and then no, the fuck you're not. You're triggered. You know,
it depends on what you get triggered by. And
yeah,
the situation.
yeah. But you know, there's a new understanding. I perceive things differently. Nice. So you know, it's okay. So I go and I sit with ayahuasca for an entire week, right? It's 3 ceremonies within that week. And I'm in the jungle.
You don't know nobody out there. This is like foreign territory.
I took a friend with me.
Okay.
I took a friend with me.
But still.
Yeah. Luckily, she went with me because I feel like I would have been terrified if I went by myself. But even with her, like I think I had just cut her hair, and then I told her, I was like, I'm gonna go, and she's like, can I come? And I was like, bitch, yeah, like let's go,
pull up, it's on me.
Yeah, you know. So we ended up going out there together, and like it's insane how they call them shamans, right? But they're actually called like medicine men. Shamans is like the European term, so they don't like that.
Got it.
But you know, my medicine man, he works with the jungle to protect you, because when you're drinking ayahuasca, you're very vulnerable. Your spirit is very vulnerable. And there are definitely evil spirits that take advantage of that and try to, you know, get into your vessel. And it's insane how he, through prayer, links up with the spirit of the river that was right next to us, the spirit of the trees, the spirit with the stars, with the animals, and everyone's protecting you. And you're on sacred grounds. And it's just like, do not leave this circle.
Area, right?
Yeah,
right.
Like,
and again, pardon my ignorance, because I know 2 people who have done it.
Ooh.
A couple of a friend of mine that's a couple, and they talked about their experience. But even now, just like as you're talking about the experience, you said so it's a week that you went out there. Is it ups and downs of this? Like you come into, and the only way I can compare it is to like being high or drunk. So it's like these moments. Is it the entire time you're on this, or how does that work?
Nothing compares. What I can tell you right now is, no matter how I explain it to you,
it's not going to be the same.
You are never going to be prepared for that shit.
So let me ask you this: did you know it was a week?
Oh yeah.
Are you aware of time?
I mean, when I'm under the influence of ayahuasca, hell no.
And how long?
It felt like an eternity. It felt like a lifetime.
Got you. How long does it last though?
It depends. My first ceremony, I was in it 4 hours.
Okay.
You know, and it was terrifying.
Really?
Terrifying. I tapped out. I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this again. And I spent the entire day, the next day, I spent the entire day telling everybody, fuck that.
I ain't doing it.
Yeah. I said,
take me home.
And I said, I'm going to sit this one out,
Really?
you know, and everyone was like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Like, you know, trying to
talk you out of
hippie my way into it, you know, and I'm just
Was it
like,
their first experience too?
Yeah. A lot of them, it was their first. But like, when I tell you, like, I don't know other people's lives, right? But like, there's so much darkness in mine.
Yeah.
And like, that comes from generations.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just me. You know what I mean? I inherited all this darkness. Wow. So I've only known that since I have memory. 2-3 years old, I've known very dark shit. And I'm like, this was too much.
Yeah.
It was unbearable. There was a moment where I thought I was dying. They had me sign a waiver. And in that trip, I'm literally like, that's why they had you signing shit, because you dying. Like, bitch, like you about to die, bitch. And like, nobody knows you're out here. Because I had only told my mom. Yeah. I didn't tell my dad what I was doing out there, you know? And like, my dad's like the parent.
Right. He would have stopped that ass. Like,
no, I don't think so. But like, I was just a little, like, I've always just been very secretive. I've always just been very secretive. And it's just like, I didn't know how to explain that.
Got you.
You know? Yeah, you know, I went out there the next day. I was like, absolutely not.
I was going to say, I wanted to get to that point. What made you say, okay, F it, let's try it again?
Listen, 20 minutes before ceremony, my stomach is in shambles. And I'm sitting there talking to myself. And I was like, you really paid all that money? You really traveled over here for 24 hours to sit it out? And I was like, you got work to do. And I said, you was born for this. Like, you're here for a reason, you know? And I was just going back and forth. And I was like, all right. And I was like, I've never prayed like this, but let me attempt, you know? And I said, whoever's with me, you know, on the other side, I need you to show up for me the way that I would show up for my kid. You know, and I said, I don't have kids, but if you know me the way that I think you know me, you know what I would do for my kids.
Right.
So I need you to show up in that same way because I am scared. You know, and I was like, I kept saying, I am loved, I am protected, and I am safe. I kept saying that over and over again. And as I was sitting there praying, this like glowing beetle out of nowhere just comes, and it's like in my face, just flying around me. And at that moment, I was like, I hear you.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going in. And I went in, and this experience was totally different. Now, that first ceremony is 4 hours in. I'm dying the whole time, panicking, terror, darkness, just I'm running away from it. She's chasing me the whole time, trying to get me to sit down, right? The second ceremony, she took it easy on me. I was greeted by like jaguar eyes or something. Like it's because it's pitch black. It's pitch black, right? So like I remember when I got there, I asked my guide, I said, so do we close our eyes or keep them open? And he just laughed.
He's like, oh,
yeah,
you have no idea what's about to happen.
He just laughed
Yeah.
and he was like, it don't matter. And I was like,
all right.
I was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, dude, like whenever it gets dark, you get used to it and then you can see your hand. No, in the jungle, it's pitch black. I kept doing this. I couldn't see anything.
So this is in the middle of the night?
Yeah, because
Okay.
you start at like 7 p.m. when it gets dark, and then you go on until you go on. The second ceremony lasted about 16 hours for me.
What?
16 hours. This one put me to work, okay? And I go in, and like I said, she greeted me with jaguar eyes, and she made me feel very comfortable.
Okay.
I felt so much love. I saw all my ancestors that are with me. I saw them all come in like within 10 minutes of feeling her, because I could feel her in my fingertips. What? It's like it's something so different where I'm like, whoa, like this feels different. And I saw pitch black, and I saw a bunch of white silhouettes walking towards me. And at that moment, I received that download that I've never been alone, that they've always been with me, and that it's not just me, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Comes with an army of people that we do not know. And I broke down, and I'm just like, yo, like all this time, I thought I was alone,
Y'all here.
you know, and I'm an only child. So I feel that loneliness to another degree. And, you know, when I saw them come in, I was like, wow, like they showed up like I asked them to.
Did you recognize anybody that had passed on before?
No.
So this is just ancestors from, you know.
I don't know who the fuck these people
They was here.
are.
They was your army though.
Yes.
Got you.
I knew at that moment that they had been there from inception, from the other side. I know them from the other side.
So the you said it was 3 different ones, right? So that the third ceremony, was it as intense as the first one, or was it a balance between the first and the second one, or how did that one play out?
Man, the third one, she made me go sober. I've been an alcoholic for a very long time. I started at 14 years old. It was the love of my life.
Yeah.
I've been sober before. I at 24 years old, I did quit the first time cold turkey because of something that happened. And I was clean 3.5 years. But after those 3.5 years, I had that relapse, and then I was right back in it.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, she made me go sober in that third ceremony.
So was it something that was said to you? Was it something that you experienced? What made you say,
She
okay,
made
I'm
me
done?
incredibly drunk. So like pretty much, because after that second ceremony, like the thing with that second ceremony is she made me feel so powerful. She made me trust her.
Gotcha.
And she made me love what she was showing me. I was just as big as her. She was showing me my potential. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And she was like, oh, like, it was like my Aladdin moment where he's like, do you trust me? And I was like, yes.
Gotcha.
And I give her my hand, and she drops me. And I go into this hellhole.
I'm sorry, this is the third go round.
No, this is the second
one. Okay, so this is within the 16 hours.
Yeah, that's the 16 hours one
okay.
where I was in shambles. Things that I was learning about my family, about my lineage, about myself, things that I was confronting. Because a lot of the times we're so scared of our own truths that we ignore them. We drink, we go out, we have so many distractions because we cannot face them. It makes us sick, you know? And for a long time I was doing that and I didn't even realize it, you know? And when these truths are in your face, you're just like, oh, leave me alone, stop, you know? You're like running away, and she just will not let you. Like it's really crazy because every time you close the door, you turn around and there's another one, you know? And it's like, and you can't explain what you're looking at. You're not in this realm.
Yeah.
And you're being shown sacred geometry and sacred symbols from like Egypt and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you're being shown like different lives that you've lived. Like it's just insane. You're talking to people that have passed on. There was a few people that had passed on that did come, you know, and I did have a conversation. But it's just it's so like mystical. It's straight out of a movie. You know what I mean?
What's funny is that the couple that told me about it, their experience, and there was a lot of other, like you're saying, it was a whole situation. But the one thing that I took away from their experience was that he was there to protect her this whole time. And they had traveled throughout lifetimes together, and they had came back in this lifetime together. And the whole thing was like, no matter where we're gonna be, we're gonna always be together. But now we finally made it together in this lifetime, and I'll see you again. But we're experiencing this together, and it goes to speak on how their relationship, and it's just an amazing thing. But with that comes a lot of you have to. It's hard to look in the mirror. It's hard to like put down that wall. So as you're explaining it, there may be some people that's listening and watching this. They're just like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" But I understand.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
There's a lot of people that look at me like I'm crazy, and I don't give a fuck. Right. I'm just like, you so damn lost. Like I don't care.
It's wild to even think about that type of experience because again, one of the reasons why me and you bond, because we've talked about sobriety, right? And the one thing I think about my experiences of being intoxicated. Like I don't smoke like that. That's not my thing. Never been really my jam because I have crazy panics.
Anxiety.
And anxiety is crazy. So it's like when I hear that, I'm like, oh nah, I wouldn't want to experience nothing like that. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to, kind of face your fears and figure it out. It's not something that I have said I would do or not do, but it's just always interesting to hear the experiences of people when they talk about it.
You know what? I feel like if you hear something like this and it immediately calls you like, yo, I need to experience some shit like that, then it's for you. Right. Because that's your role in this life. Right. But if you're immediately like, hell no, it's not for you. Yeah. It's like you're meant to speak to someone like me and receive that download. Like what I've learned is throughout just generations, right? Like there has always been a seer in the village, right? Like when you look at like Pocahontas or some shit, right? Like there's an elder there who works with herbs. He can see the future. He can, you know what I mean? Like there's always someone in the village that's meant for that. Yeah. And I know in my heart that that's what I'm meant for. Right. I've always known that, And speaking of Pocahontas, Willow tree, I believe, is ayahuasca. Grandmother Willow, I believe, is ayahuasca. Really? Just like in Avatar, that tree that they be connecting to, I believe that's also ayahuasca. They've never said it, but when I see it and I see what the like, tree does, I'm like,
been there, done that. That's interesting that you've gone through that experience, man. It's brought you to a point where there's such a sense of clarity and genuineness about you that I feel like a lot of people get from you. Now, obviously, everybody has their stories, and there was a lot of trauma from day one, and all that. But anytime I feel like any conversations we've had, it's always just been such a genuine conversation, such a like, I don't know, just down to earth, super. It's hard to explain the words, but it's like you possess that.
Real,
and I feel
recognize
like
real.
Real, recognize real. And I feel like that comes across in the music as well. You know what I mean? I do want to talk about the experience of making music? Because you said you were successful. I mean, things were popping off. You got get to this moment. So how does that lead you to say, you know what? Yeah, music is gonna be the thing. I want to rap. You know what I mean?
So what's crazy is I ended up in a building that was a whole music studio building that I didn't even know about. So when I got my studio to do hair, it's because I had a friend that was tattooing in that building. He had his own private studio. You know, I met a few people there and I was comfortable in that building. So I was like, I'm going to get a studio in here. Yeah. So I go and I start working in that studio. And like I said, I had my little relapse after those 3.5 years. So when I would go out after working and I'd be at bars, I'd come back 2, 3 in the morning lit.
Trash, yeah.
Through the hallways, and I'd find somebody and I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And they'd be like, oh, well, we're working on music. And I'd say, oh, well, can I go inside and check it out? And they're like, yeah. So I was doing that for a few months where I would pull up and I would sit in their studio sessions, just drunk as shit, minding my business. And out of nowhere one day, I remember I was in a studio session. There was at least like 10 people in there. And I was like, let me in there. And I was like, I want to show you something. And then I got in the booth and I rapped and I just, you know, when you're in the booth, you can't hear anything. Yeah. So when I went outside, everyone was like, what the fuck was that? And then I was like, oh, it's just something I do.
Little light work.
Yeah. And I was like, it's just a little something, you know? And they were like, no, like, what the hell was that? You know, that's not a little something, you know? Yeah. And I just kept showing up. That's all I kept doing. I kept showing up and hanging out because I was just hanging out. You know?
But Dazy, but you were at least toying around with music or like rapping to yourself prior to that.
Yes, but because I had this other little boyfriend I was hanging out with when I was in my early 20s, and him and his friends used to freestyle in the car when we would be drinking and smoking and doing all. They used to pick me up and just like spoil me with drinks, right. And like I'd be sitting there just having so much fun with them while they were freestyling, and they'd always be like, oh, come on, like, get in. Yeah. We know you got it. And I was like, no. Because I take myself too seriously to freestyle. Yeah. Because if I say some dumb shit, I can't take it back, you know? And then everyone's going to know I was saying some dumb shit. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So what happened was after all those freestyle sessions, one day I go home and I pulled up a beat. It was... on my block, is it Scarface or Ghostface? I forget which one.
Scarface. On my block,
yeah, my block. So I pull that beat up and I start writing to it, and I recorded myself and I sent it to the dude, and he was like, "No way!" He was like, "No way! That sounds so good." And he's such a liar because it was so trash. It was so trash.
Do you still have that?
Yes.
I would love to hear that. I would love to hear it. I would just love to hear it in comparison to what Dazy Lyn sounds like. Only because every time, whenever you're on a song, right? And I can imagine this is probably what they heard in the studio session. You have this commanding voice, and I've said this on when I was doing live and direct, and I would play your music. It's like, yo, your voice cuts through to the point where if somebody's talking to you, they don't realize, like, it's like, wait, is it two different people? But it's the same. You can tell it's the same person, but it's like, yo, you have this commanding tone about you, and it sounds like you've done this before. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what people get when they first hear you.
That voice was not that voice.
Okay, so it's a different.
So this voice has evolved at least 6 different times. Okay, and I got the proof. It's all in my laptop. But I'm not showing.
Pull it up, man. I want to hear it. I gotta hear some type of reference.
I gotta
hear a reference track or something.
I gotta figure it out because I do think that they should be released, but I'm just so embarrassed because I'm like, oh my God, I sound so different.
I'm not saying you gotta release it. I just want to hear it for myself.
Yeah. We'll talk.
For sure.
But like, I can't believe that they were saying those things, right? Because when I hear it now, I'm like, oh, they were lying to me. They were lying to me.
Do you think that they were really lying, or do you think that you just evolved from that sound to what you sound like now?
I think that they were just impressed with like the wordplay, maybe. You know what I mean? I think that that's what it was, because the voice was definitely not the
voice
voice
is
at
no,
that
no,
time.
okay. So, but the bar's there though.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess
Okay.
a little bit.
I think you're just being too hard on yourself.
Always.
I get it, but I think that there were if they said that, there was a reason why. And what I'm saying is that that's the reaction
I don't
that
know.
a lot
I
of
don't
people
always tell people when they're whack. Like sometimes I'm like,
Man.
oh, that shit's tight, and I'm like, oh, that shit is whack. You know, so I don't know. I'm a little guilty about that. So I was like, eh. So basically, even though they eventually went away from my life, I continued to do that throughout the years. I would just be home drinking, and I would write, and I would record. I would memorize it and record myself on my laptop. And like,
But were you taking it serious at that moment, or was it just like,
no,
I'm
it
just
was
having
just a
fun
hobby.
recording it?
It was just a
So I
hobby.
mean, where'd you get a mic from? Did you just go to Best Buy and grab a mic, or were you just recording it on your computer?
I never got a mic. I was just recording on the laptop
got
and
it.
like recording myself on my phone, you know? And like literally it was just like something that I would show people when I was drunk. Like when I would be going out with somebody,
Like, look,
and then
kick this 16,
they were driving me home. I would be like, can I put this instrumental? You know?
Want to hear some shit?
And I would do it for them throughout the years, you know? So it was like, and they would all say the same shit. Oh, that was dope. That was dope. And I'd be like, all right, you know, like I'll take it, you know? But when I got in the booth, when I started doing hairstyling, when I was with those people, and they were like, they kept telling me like, you should go for it. You should go for it, right? I was like, yeah, I don't know, right? And I go and do ayahuasca, and during that second ceremony, I was asking her all kinds of questions, and I said, so what do you think about music? And she just kind of stood quiet, and she didn't say anything. And then she started infiltrating my mind with thoughts, and it was like, your friends don't actually think that you're dope. Like they're just lying to you. They're right. There was all this negative stuff and just rooted in doubt. Right. So I'm sitting there for 20-25 minutes, just like feeling so bad, feeling so sorry for myself. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why would they lie to me? You know? And I was like, and I was feeling bad, feeling dumb. And then out of nowhere, I said, man, what are you talking about? And I was like, I'm dope. And I was like, you're not even over there. I'm like, you all the way out here. Like, I was like, you're not even in LA.
You wasn't even with me in the gym.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, you're not even in LA. Like, and then I was like, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm dope, and I know I'm dope. And when I'm reflecting on that, I'm like, I think she was testing me. I think she was trying to see if I even believed in myself or not, right? Because the moment I started telling her that, she kind of went like this, and then poof, put me on a huge stage. It felt like Staples Center, because I used to work at Staples Center. I was going to
get into that, yeah.
So I've seen that a million times, but this time I'm the one on stage. It's empty, and it's a huge venue, and all these lights, blinding lights, are on me. And she was like, "You could." She's like, but what are you going to say? And what are you going to do? She's like, are you going to speak life into people, or are you just going to keep messing shit up more? And that's all she said. She said, you could, and that's what she left me with.
Damn.
So through all the feelings that I went through in that ceremony, I released a lot of shame. I released the fear of being perceived. I just didn't care. Yeah. Like, to me, it was just like, it don't matter what someone thinks of me. Like, I know who I am, and at that moment, I just knew that this experience, this life that we experience, is just a dream. And I was like, yo, we literally take this shit so seriously. Yeah. We're literally, like, everything is the end of the world. Every time we go through something, oh my God, we can't handle it. We're about to die. It's
how do you speak that into somebody, right, that hasn't had that experience, that hasn't, been awakened by that? Because I mean, what you're saying is no different than what a lot of people say, and it's like, why we only got YOLO, we only got one life, like you know what I mean, like, but at the same time, that still people are still clouded with that doubt, that negativity, or just being so consumed with this life.
That's not my concern. I just say it. I just say it, you know, and perhaps it won't resonate in that moment.
Right.
And then perhaps something will happen a few months, years down the line where it'll click.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, damn, I get what she was saying now.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the whole purpose. You know, it's like whenever we receive the downloads, our responsibility is to say it out loud so that other people can also get the downloads.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, it's none of my concern whether they pick up on it or not.
Yeah.
It don't matter to me. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I dropped that fear, and when I came back, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to get a YouTube beat and I'm going to make a music video.
What was the first beat you got?
Oh my God. It was just some random YouTube beat. But the song is called I'm Crying Inside, something like that, Crying Inside, and it's on YouTube. And I posted it just for fun. Like it wasn't even like and mind you, I know no rappers, nobody in the industry. I'm a full-blown hairstylist. I'm just getting my flowers in this hair shit in the beauty world. Like I'm in there, I'm getting known, you know, because when I got into hairstyling, I didn't know anybody.
Right.
So it's like high school all over again. I got to Fairfax not knowing anybody. I knew 6 people. I left prom queen.
Get the fuck out.
And I love to say that shit. That's my greatest. That's one of my greatest accomplishments. I don't give a fuck. You won prom queen at Fairfax?
Right. Damn.
Come on. You know? So it's the same shit. I get into the hair thing and I'm starting over. I don't know nobody. I don't have a reputation, you know, and I got to start over. Boom. Okay. I start to build little by little. Then I go into this rap shit. I don't know nobody. Yeah. But the few people that I did know that were doing some rap shit, they were my connections. They were my first connections.
Foot inside.
Getting in, you know, and that was a blessing. You know, I needed them. You know, every single person that I've met has opened the door for me. Yeah. You know, so my team may be very small. You know, it was just me for a long time, but I definitely didn't do it alone. Right. There was a lot of people that helped me. You know, you're one of those people as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like I don't do it alone. It's through God and the network. You know, so. Yeah, it's been crazy how it's all unfolding because I didn't know anything. Like I said, I was stuck in the 90s. I've been stuck in the 90s, so I didn't know who was out, who was doing what.
I was gonna say, so your influence comes obviously from that era. I always like to ask this because it kind of gives me a sense of, you know, what you were into. What was the first purchase that you had, like? Hip hop, the first album that you bought with your own money. With your own money.
The East Siders, yeah. Also, the Chronic. I had a Mariah Carey CD too.
Sprinkled in there, you know what I mean?
I had me a little J-Lo CD.
Right.
Cause I'm real.
That's wild. You on some gangster shit.
Yeah, no, I mean I've been rap. Since I was a little girl. Really? Like this is nothing new to me. You know what I'm saying? Like since I was a little girl, my dad used to play a certain radio station. I don't know if I could say it here.
Go ahead.
But Power 106. You know what I'm saying? Like they would always, my dad would always play that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I came up with MC and my people call me Milk. When I'm busting up a party, I feel no guilt. Right? Like I knew the whole song word for word. LL Cool J songs. I mean, I just knew everything, you know, and I was like a jukebox, you know, so I memorized everyone's lyrics, Biggie's, Pac's, Dre, Ice Cube, Snoop. Like I used to know all their verses, and I'd always be like, damn, like I wish I was at a concert and they just passed me the mic, you know?
That's wild that you had those thoughts early on like that.
Like I'm so sick that I wasn't around for the Smoke Tour.
Right, Up in Smoke Tour.
Yeah. Like I'm so sick. Like that's where I belong.
That's so
you know what
funny,
I mean?
Dude.
Like when I used to watch those videos, I just chills everywhere.
Dude, it's so funny. I've told this story a couple of times, but I had a chance to go to Up in Smoke Tour.
Woo!
My friend won tickets on 100.3 the beat. Actually, it was 92.3. It was 92.3 the beat at the time.
92.3 the beat.
It was 92.3 the beat.
And then it became
100 points because I used to work for 100.3 the beat. So
Okay.
she won tickets. It was my junior year in high school. She gets tickets, and
Your mom didn't let you go.
no, I wasn't tripping. I think the weekend that it happened was Father's Day, and I chose to spend that weekend with my dad. And now in the moment, I'm like, damn, like what, just upset about it. But after the fact, I kind of have more. At the end of the day, I still wish I would have won. I ain't gonna lie, but
Yeah.
it was one of those moments where I'm like, what the fuck was I can't even tell you why. I don't know if I was forced to go to my dad's house that weekend or either way, but after he passed, it made me appreciate that moment even more. It's like, yo, this is a once in a lifetime moment. I could have been there, but I chose to be with my dad that weekend, and it is what it is. I still wish I would have fucking went, but it was like, damn, like
I
just
mean, y'all
one
could
of
have
those
celebrated
moments.
the following day.
We could have. Hey, we could. It was a wild moment.
I bargain all the time. I'm like, hey, can I go? And then we'll just
I'll see you later on. Yeah.
Like tomorrow. Tomorrow's Father's Day. Okay?
One. I mean, to this day, I teeter back and forth between regretting it and appreciating it. But I'm like, dude, that was, to your point, it was a once in a lifetime freaking moment, man. Up in smoke to it. It was crazy.
This is when girls are still flashing
Yeah.
their
Going crazy,
yeah,
right?
like just like these are superstars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a different era.
Yeah.
Because now, even though, there's fame and stuff like that, it's so much easier to get to that.
Access, right.
You know what I mean? It's like now it's like if you're consistent enough, you could actually do it.
Absolutely.
Back then it's like you had to be a star. You had to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And it's like these are people that are fainting when they see you.
Crazy.
Ain't nobody fainting to you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, this whoop-de-whoop.
Yeah.
Like it's
not the same at all.
It's not.
I want to talk about LA Baby, not only because of the name, that's the name of the project, that's your moniker. I mean, you've embraced that name. People that's what people know you as. How did that name come about, and why did you decide that to be the name of the project?
So honestly, I don't even know where it came from. All I know is I said it once and it just stuck.
Yeah.
Like I just never not said it anymore. You know what I mean?
To me, it's reminiscent of like T.I. calling himself the King of the South, and it's like everybody just he claimed it, and everybody started doing. I feel like that's the same energy that the LA Baby has.
I mean, I am an LA baby. I've never lived anywhere. I've never even lived in Glendale. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just I'm a straight up LA baby.
Yeah.
And to me, I have so much pride in that.
Yeah.
I love to say it. So when I started saying it, it was just like a thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, this got a little ring to it, and when I was coming up with names for the album, I had a few other options, right? But I spoke to Ty about it, and I was like, Ty, like, what do you think? And she was like, let me listen to your album and I'll get back to you with a few ideas. And one of those was the LA Baby. Crazy. And when she said that, I was like, bro, why didn't I think of that?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I said it before.
And like, to me, it was perfect because whoever doesn't know me, whoever doesn't know about the LA Baby, now they're associating me with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect. We stamp it even harder. You know what I mean? And now it's like a lot can come from that, So I was blessed to have Ty there. Shout
out to Ty, man. She's
I love
everywhere.
Ty.
I love that, man.
That's my girl.
Some good peoples, man.
Yeah.
Now the album, you got a lot of folks on there, man. Salute to the you got Havoc on there, the legend,
bro.
I love the story. We'll get into it in a second, but Havoc, Mozzy, shout outs to the Yotes, man, yes. Murkemz, and Zay, right? So this project, you gotta get, you got some folks on there, man.
My first project.
Your first project,
folks.
Your first project to have some names like that, like certified, stamped individuals, you know what I mean? From legends to those that are in the city that's just like, you know what I mean, putting it down. how did you, establish these relationships? And I want to start off with the Havoc one. Because that's just one of those things that I feel like only you could get this shit to pop off, right? Especially from listening to the stories of, just your come up.
Just all the coinkadinks.
It's
right?
just, of course. Like when you were telling the stories, I was like, duh, I already know how the story is gonna end. But tell the people how you were able to get Havoc on the project. Yeah.
Well, when I started doing music, I dropped one song called Chills. That was my very first time putting a song out, like an actual song. I got the beat, right? Because when I told you, when I came back from ayahuasca, I was just fucking around and I picked a YouTube beat and I did a video to it. I did that twice.
Wow.
Okay, so I did that twice. And again, it was just a hobby. But when I was getting so much positive feedback from it, I was like, well, maybe I could give this a shot. Like, why not? Okay, and this was during COVID.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I'm in my room by myself. I purchased the beat from Stan the Man. He's out in New York. And I'm writing to it, right? Created the chorus. I got footage of that too. And I get in the booth and I put the song out. That song does crazy numbers in like New York, out of all places. Sway ends up reaching out for me to go out to New York. It's my first time in New York. I go to his platform Overtime and I rap on there. He has no idea that I've never rapped in front of anybody
this
before.
Is your first time?
My very first time, but I wasn't gonna out myself.
Right. Of course not. Why?
When Sway calls you to go, yes.
Yeah, I'm there.
I get a flight. I'm on my way. I was like, hell no. You're not gonna tell him you ain't never done this shit before. Grab your fucking balls and go over there. And I go and, he could tell. I know he could tell that it was my first time, and it's okay. That's okay with me.
You showed
I accept
up for yourself.
I accept it, and it's like the time has passed now. I'm different, so now I could hold it together. You know what I'm saying?
And you recently performed from it again with with the crew. I saw that was pretty dope, man. The Five Fingers of Death,
definitely a full circle moment right there, because he was my first cosign, and that was the biggest cosign I could have ever had.
That's one hell of a. There's people right now that have been rapping for years that aren't able to get the Sway cosign. Talk about that. What that did for your confidence early on, and again that full circle moment to kind of be back on his platform and show like. I'm here.
I was feeling myself, because when I came back to LA, everyone was like, yo, what the hell? Like, you was just out there with Sway doing it, like now it's like, I told you I wasn't fucking playing. And then I come back and then Just Incredible is like, oh, hop on my Hunger Flow album. Yes.
Of course.
On my way. Did that too. It's like, it's really, crazy to me how everything happened so quickly, right? So when I did that song, that was one of my very first times, right? Like really being in the studio and learning like studio etiquette, so I'm DIYing the fuck out of this. Like I have no guidance whatsoever. So I just started writing verses to like beats that I liked, and one of those beats just happened to be a Mobb Deep beat, because I was heavy into Mobb Deep in high school. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like heavy. So I get a Mobb Deep instrumental, and I recorded myself doing a video, and that video did numbers, and somehow I got to Havoc. I don't know how I got to Havoc. Somehow I got to Havoc. Out of nowhere, I have a DM, and it's Havoc with a bunch of fire emojis. And I was like, no way. And I write back to him. I'm like, bro, like, you're a legend. I can't believe you're in here right now, and like we just
can't believe you're in here right now.
Yeah, like it was just like it was like, what? Like who sent you? So we started off in that way, where it was just a DM here and there, you know what I mean? And it was just that for a long time, but I felt like I had built some type of rapport with him, even through, just messages.
Right.
So when I started working on this album, I told my producer, Franco, I was like, Franco, I think I could get Havoc on this. And he was like, Havoc? And I was like, yeah, I think I can. Like, I think I can, you know, if I, cause like I had even ran into him a few times. Like I had gone to to some of his shows, and when he would see me, it was like, oh,
love, right.
you Dazy, you know? And I was, yeah, you know, and I was like, I think he fucks with me, Franco. Like, I think he'll say yes. And he's like, well, shit, go for it, you know, shoot your shot. And I did. I sent him a DM and I said, yo, like, I'm dropping my first album. It would make my whole life if I could get a verse from you. And he was like, who you signed with? And I was like, no, I'm independent.
Yeah, me,
like,
myself, and I.
Yeah, I was like, I'm 100% independent. And he was like, I got you. And he was like, send me a song. And I was like, okay. And I started working on it. And like, I found this one song and I just felt like it had him written all over.
Wait, so when you were saying that to your producer, you didn't even have the song together?
No,
I'm thinking he's got the beat. He's like, oh, this kind of sounds like a.
I was literally just sitting there and I was like, who could I get on here? And I was like, I think, cause you know, I like to show out, you know? So sure. I was like, I gotta see who I can get connected with here, you know? And I was like, I'm gonna ask him, you know, because what's the worst that could happen? He says no.
So no, yeah, and you'd be back to square one. It is what it is.
I didn't have it to begin with, you know. So to me, I have no shame to ask for things, you know.
So what were the other things that you kind of set out to do when you were putting this project out? Because again, it's your debut project. What are some of the things that you were checking off the list? Like, yo, I gotta have this. I gotta have this. I want to get these people on there. Like, did you already have that, or did that kind of move and change?
Gradually. It happened gradually. You know, Havoc was my first thought, though. Like, yeah, as far as features go, Havoc was my first thought. And when he said yes, I was like, dude. I was like, if we get Havoc to say yes, you know, and like if I start asking other people,
like, y'all got Havoc on there. You don't want to be on this?
Yeah.
You don't want. Hey, look, I got the infamous one on here.
Yeah, you know.
You don't want to be a part of this,
right?
All right, you're lost.
Yeah. So I was like,
that's a good selling point.
I think we could really pitch it to some people, right? He's like, okay. And you know, when Havoc sent me his verse, I couldn't believe it. I was in tears. Like, and what's crazy too is I was wearing this jersey. It's this red Hennessy jersey. I don't drink, but I fuck with jerseys, you know? So I was like, whatever, I'll wear it. So when I was doing, recording my vocals for the song intended for Havoc, I'm wearing this jersey, right? And I'm rapping, woo woo. I come outside and somebody I don't even know who it was. Somebody looks at me and they go, that's a dope ass jersey. There's like, it said Prodigy in the back, huh?
Get the
and I was like, it does, huh? And they were like, yeah, you know, that's a Mobb Deep jersey. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
You're lying.
And they were like, look. And it had like a little triangle that said Mobb Deep on there. And I was like, Franco, if this ain't a motherfucking sign, like, I didn't even do it on purpose. Like, I just showed up, you know, and I was wearing this jersey because I like the color and I like how big it was. And
that's wild.
Yeah, and somebody literally was like, because I saw that it said Prodigy, but I didn't actually think Prodigy.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought like a Prodigy child or whatever, you know. And I didn't look too much into it. And then they were like, look, it has a whole Mobb Deep thing on there. And I was like, bro, that's insane. So when I was recording that, I was wearing that jersey.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when when these moments are happening, is it there's a couple of questions. When you have these moments, is it like, oh yeah, this is supposed to happen? Or are you like regular, freaked out? Like,
I'm grateful.
Got it.
Because I don't take it for granted, because to me, it just keeps proving how magical life is. And when I'm in that mindset, it keeps proving itself to me. It keeps showing me how magic works.
So Havoc was the first feature that you got out the gate. So of course, at that moment, it'd be easy to kind of pitch it to people. How did the Mozzy situation work out for you?
That is a great story. So I had just finished the studio session with Franco, and normally we'd be done 5, 6 p.m. and I'll go home. I'll leave. But this particular day, David Ali, who is
out to him. Yeah.
yes, who's the one that helped me get this whole thing rolling. He was like, "Hey Dazy, why don't you stay for a minute? Show me what you've been working on." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And I was like, "So we gonna go inside?" And he's like, "No, just hit play so the whole office can hear." And it's like 20 people in there. And I was like, "Oh, like
right now,
like
okay.
my raw shit,
Yeah.
like all right,
It ain't mixed,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Mr.
Rough,
You
Mr.
already
Rough,
know.
man,
You already know.
I ain't
It's
got the
not
mics
mixed.
yet, it's cool,
Yeah, so I start playing my shit, and we're probably 10 minutes in, right? And all of a sudden, this energy just walks into the room. I'm saying, like, the door gets kicked down, and there's like 20 dudes walking in, and it's loud, and my music's loud, and they're like happy to see each other, dabbing each other up, and like I've always said this, like I'm super courteous, like I was raised like that. So, if people are talking, you lower the music so that they can hear each other, right? But I'm on my rap shit, and I've learned from a lot of fucking rappers, and I was like, nah, fuck that. None of these motherfuckers would lower their music.
Studio
they
etiquette
don't
right
care.
there. Right.
They'll turn it up, start it over, So I was like, all right, you on your rap shit, don't lower it. So
I'm a rapper now.
Yeah, so I don't lower it, right? And I just see Mozzy, like vibing to it, and he comes over, he goes, "This you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, we gonna work." And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah." People say that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, we gonna work for sure, and I was like, hey, as long as he gave me that reaction, that's a win to me. You know what I mean? So we're sitting there and we're having a conversation for about 10 minutes. And then he goes, "So what's up? You gonna load?"
Oh, you mean like right now?
Yeah, he goes, "So what's up? You gonna load something up?" Mind you, my producer left. He's also my engineer. So he's gone. And I'm just sitting there with David and Mozzy and the whole gang in the office. And I was just like, shit, like he wants something right now. And like, he was like, "Yeah, give me a song you already got." So I just hop on there. And I was like, ooh, because the songs that I had that had open verses were meant for somebody already. When I made my Enemy song, that was meant for the Yotis.
Yeah.
I did it with them in mind.
Right.
When I did, I still hadn't received that Havoc verse, but he had already told me yes.
Right.
So I couldn't give him that one because I was like, bro, I
already
like
Havoc.
Yeah,
Man.
it's
Like,
Havoc.
yeah.
Like there were so many songs that I had open verses on that were already for someone, and I was like, I'm gonna keep it real with you, and I was like, the songs that I have that have open verses, they're already meant for somebody, and I don't want to give you, like I don't. Right. And he was like, all right. He was like, I prefer something that's already made, but if you got a beat, he was like, pull it up. And I said, oh, I got beats.
I got beats.
So I got beats. So I started looking through some beats, and there was this one that just, I had already been vibing to it that earlier that week. And I was like, I think I could write to this. Earlier that week, I was listening to that, right? And then when I showed it to him, he was like, that one. He was like, that one's straight. And I was like, okay, but like, I kind of want to show you what my vibe is, just so that you kind of, like know, what I do. And it was just me and him in that fire escape. And I have my phone, and I played him 3 songs. And after those 3 songs, he goes, all right, load it up.
Vibe,
yeah, he said, load it up. And David found an engineer that was like in the building, and he brings him into the room. He took about 20 minutes, gave me a verse, and I really needed that because during that moment in my life, it was the ups and downs, and downs, ever since the beginning of the year, I haven't really had any ups and downs. I've been very balanced and grounded, and like I haven't been depressed. I haven't, had crazy thoughts, but prior to the beginning of the year, it's always been like this, so I'm always going up and down, and at that moment I was down. Wow. So when he gave me that verse, I was over the moon. I couldn't fucking believe it. I was just like, God, like you did this for me. Like, thank you so much. Like I'm so grateful. Like this is all you. When he's in the booth recording and I see his fucking jersey and it says God's child on it in the back, right? And I was just like, yo, like again, magic.
And I can imagine in this moment, because you said you had asked for the Havoc verse, still hadn't gotten it.
Still hadn't. He had told me yes.
Yeah, you're gonna get it, but it still wasn't in your inbox.
So you see where I'm in panic mode.
Exactly.
Where I'm like, am I really gonna get it?
Right.
Because you know how this shit works.
Right.
It's like, okay, he said yes, but I've been let down so many times. Like, am I actually gonna get it?
Yeah.
So actually, Mozzy was my first.
I was gonna get to that.
Yes.
So even though Havoc was,
yes,
he said yes, but the first verse you received was Mozzy. That is crazy.
So that's what put that fucking fuel on my back to just like, okay, now I'm onto something.
Damn. So you were talking about and I feel like the Yotes, that you said you had something for them, and they're home turf, so that's family or whatever the case may be. So I feel like that was an easy link up to make work out. Same thing for Murkemz, like that's somebody that you've known. You guys,
I mean, Murkemz for sure. I knew. I was like, oh,
if anybody, I get that one. Yeah,
Murkemz is gonna say yes, absolutely, because we like that. We really have a solid friendship. But I knew that the Yotes was really busy.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I don't know.
Also, even them, even though they're
I was like,
home turf, you don't.
I was like,
sure.
I don't know. So when I reached out and I asked them, I was like, first I asked Wapo, and he was like, yeah, for sure. I sent it to him, but I didn't get nothing back for a long time. And I like, the thing with me is I hate to bug.
Right.
I hate to be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Yote. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to fucking bug, But then I had ran into Ricky at both of them at Mike and Keys, and I was showing, because like I'm drawing all my features, right? And like I pulled out my book and I'm like drawing. He's like, "What's up? Like, why aren't you drawing me?" And I was like, "Well, if y'all would have done my feature, like, I would have been drawing y'all, And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was
can
like,
go to the text.
I was like, I sent Wapo, and he's like, "Oh, no, send that again, And they sent it back to me. And what's crazy is the Yotes was one of the first rappers I ever met.
Really?
So this is how it happened. Remember, I told you I come from being a hairstylist. I didn't know nobody in this shit. Okay. So when I dropped my song Chills, right, and it's doing numbers, I had a homegirl. I have a homegirl named Tina. She sent it to the game. I've been knowing the game from Staples Center, right? And we didn't talk for a few years because when I first met him, I was in that party mode where, I was showing up to his July 4th parties and, all that shit, right? But then I calmed down. I kind of, that lifestyle wasn't aligning anymore, right? So she sends it to him. He's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, I remember her. Like, tell her to pull up." So I pull up to a session for Game. This is when he's working on his album. I forget the name of that album, but it's the one right before this one. Right now he's working on Documentary 3, but it was the one right before.
Gotcha.
So I show up with my manager at the time and Wax there. And like, mind you, I told you I don't know nobody.
Right.
I don't know nobody.
Walking into these situations.
So like, I end up chopping it up with Wack, and he's like, "Oh, young lady, hell yeah, you dope. I'm about to have a podcast with the Yotes and Cypress Moreno on Tuesday." It was like Saturday or Sunday, I don't fucking know, but it was like 2 days away. And he's like, I'm gonna have a podcast. Like, you need to pull up. You gonna represent the ladies, and you're Latina and wooty woo, right? Like, he's telling me all this shit. And again, I have no clue who Wack is. I got no fucking clue, right? So I show up, and that happens. I'm like, yeah,
Sure.
I'm like, I'll show up, right? And at the end, I tell my manager at the time, he's like, okay. He explained a few things.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh.
Here we go.
And I was like, ooh, okay. And I was like, all right, and I, again, grabbed my fucking balls and I show up and the Yotes is there and Cypress is there. So that's the first time that I meet them. And they're basically the first people that I meet in this shit.
That's crazy. And then having that bond throughout the years and then them end up being on your freaking project is insane, dude. I mean, you talked about a lot of the ups and downs and I'm sure there was a lot of wanting to give up, even though fast forward to, the project, you're working on it. You have I'm assuming you have multiple dates in mind. What kept you in that mindset of not wanting to give up and not wanting to just stop?
You want to know something interesting that I just put together right now? For the most part, it's all been up. It's really rare when I've had a tough moment in music or anything like that. It's like from the moment I started, it was nothing but positive stuff, feeling welcomed everywhere I went to. I just felt like it was not a struggle. When people would ask oh, how do you feel as a woman coming into this shit? I'd be like, it's easy. I like it here. I fucks with
it. It's a breeze, a walk in the park for me. I ain't tripping.
Right. But the moments that actually made me feel down was the lack of support from certain people that were around me.
Really?
Yeah. As far as people that I thought would be there during the journey. People that I was like, ooh, soon as so-and-so finds out that this is happening, they're going to be stoked. Yeah. Oh, they're going to be pulling up to my shit. And when it was super quiet, where it was not even a like, or, it was that's what would make me feel bad.
Trigger you, yeah.
And for the longest time, it really did make me feel bad.
Really?
Yes. For the longest time, I would literally have to just push it away because the people that were showing up for me crazy were mainly strangers, and a few close friends. There's some close friends, they know who they are, that they've been there from the very beginning, always uplifting me, always supporting. But to this day, there are certain, people that I really assumed would be there, and that's when I would feel down. And, now it's the conversations that I'm having with myself, I'm like, why do you always think the world revolves around you? Why are you always oh, me? You're not showing up for me. You're not showing me support. Well, how do you show up for them? And I had to start asking myself those kind of questions where I was some people, I distanced myself from because it just, I don't know, it was just the vibe, right. But there were some people that I was okay, maybe I need to reach out more.
Right.
Maybe I need to put in a little more effort, because for the longest, it really was, I was in that mindset. And I was you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, do you feel like there was a certain level of entitlement with that? You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, because to me, it was just bitch, I ain't doing no regular shit.
Right.
Why are you not here celebrating with me?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's I get it if I was doing this shit for 10 years and nothing was popping off and I had no motion. I totally get it. But bro, come on. I was I know you see me.
Havoc.
I know you see me. Right? And this whole Havoc thing has just been out for a week, right? So this has been brewing about 3.5 years. That's how long I've been doing this, So for me, it's I had to just really realize that the world doesn't revolve around me, and people are dealing with real life shit. They're probably depressed. They probably they're probably happy for me. And I'm over here tripping. You know what I mean?
Have you or do you reach out to those individuals to have that conversation, or did you just kind of just let it go?
There are some people I did not have that conversation with. It was just it felt too sour for me, where I was just like, nah, like I can't believe that, like, but at the same time, I still have those thoughts, where you don't know what people are going through, so I don't harbor any hatred, that's where I'm like, I deep down, I still love you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's still love there, but it's just, I just kind of distanced myself, but I also have that idea of, you don't know what the fuck people are going through.
Right.
Like, people are damn near suicidal.
I mean, it's dope that you have a certain level of understanding for people in those moments, but at the same time, it's like, anything can happen, but I know it hurts. It's like, I'm on this journey and I'm doing it. It's my first album. Why aren't you here? Why aren't you experiencing it with me? But
it's okay.
But
The
the
ones that are here,
right.
Those are the ones that I need to put extra effort. Call them a little more.
Right.
Shoot them a text. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Because like, why worry about, the other stuff? I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And like, all it does is make me feel ugly things.
Yeah.
Make me talk shit. I'm tired of talking shit. I don't want to talk shit about people no more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Like, I'm just like, what? Like, so what?
Yeah. It's good that you're not able to like hold on to that, because I feel like that's what the thing that holds a lot of people back is you're hanging on to the resentment or all these feelings or whatever.
Ayahuasca.
Thank God for that. What I do want to talk about Rhyme Fest LA, man. Your experience there. I mean, that was just such a huge platform for you, and I know that was just an amazing feeling to be able to just show up and show out and talk about that experience, that feeling. I mean, just another groundbreaking moment. And what I love about what you do, and this goes from either something at Rhyme Fest or in the studio, and we talked about it before, but it's like there's no shame in you pressing play. There's no shame when you get in front of the crowd and showcasing your talent. Hell, we were just at Ruggo's thing the other day, and Mars like, you got some shit? Yeah, all right, cool. Boom. We'll play a couple tracks off my album. But it's like you're willing to showcase your talent. And I feel like that's what it was at Rhyme Fest LA as well. Talk about that experience, getting that call that you were going to be on there, and then you utilizing your platform to then showcase Ruggo and what I mean, and other homies that were there as well.
Well, here's another coinkadink story for you. I do not know how, but somehow I knew Scooby a few years ago. I think he had like a weed shop or something. I don't know what I was doing in there. I don't know. Like, all I know is that I met Scooby a few years ago, and we were following each other on Instagram. Again, I'm probably a security guard turned hairstylist at this moment, and I had put on my story that I was looking for a German Shepherd to give to my dad. And Scooby slides up in my DM, says, "Hey, I know somebody that got some German Shepherds." And I said, "Okay, cool." So I went to go pick up my dog. I still got that dog to this day. It's my dad's favorite dog. We got 3 dogs, but that one is his dog, and I gifted to him for Valentine's Day. And out of nowhere, I started doing music down the road, and I didn't even know he ran Rhyme Fest. I had no idea. So all of a sudden I get a call from Tumex, Alex, and he was like, "Hey, we were wondering if you want to perform at Rhyme Fest." And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I know Scooby though. Like, why he didn't call me?" And like, yeah. And like, we just ended up talking, and he offered me, a spot, and I was just like, "Yeah, of course I'm with it." And I showed up, did my thing, and here we are.
That's why. I mean, I love hearing these experiences because I feel like it's motivational for people to hear. Just kind of like, if you get out of your own way, how things kind of align and happen, and just how you've been receiving it and just been going. And it's just a great story, man. And perfect time around the album, like just everything working out for you.
It was perfect timing.
Yeah.
It was really perfect timing. I'm so amazed by God's timing.
Yeah.
That's why I don't question shit. Like, even though I told you I was pissed about the album kept getting pushed back, I was like, I trust you.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
You know, I just kept saying that. I was like, whatever. You know what the fuck you're doing.
Now I'm gonna look it up as I'm talking to you. But
Go ahead.
there's a track on Shouts Doe.
Yes, sir.
The song with, because I remember seeing it in real time, the studio session. The song with and I'm gonna mess up who else. I just know LaRussell, Absol. Who else is all on that particular song?
Bar Oatmeal, which
Bar
is
Oatmeal.
Baron Davis.
Yeah, Baron Davis.
And Manny Coolin.
Why do I feel like it was like 8 people on there? Or maybe it's because the song is like 8 minutes long.
It's because Absol and LaRussell did 2.
They were going back and forth.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, basically, that session, I think LaRussell had just performed. He had just performed, and, you know, we showed up, and little by little, people just started dropping into the studio, and it just became a whole party. Like, there was like 50 people in there, right? And they're playing beats, and you know that beat came up, and man, you don't have to tell me nothing. I'm in the corner writing,
Right,
just
you
in
on
case.
it. Yeah.
You know, like, nobody asked me to do shit. It's just I already know how it works, you know? So I'm sitting in there, and I was like, I'm going to write just in case.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm not that quick, you know? Sometimes it takes me a little longer. So thank God that LaRussell and Absol went in twice because they extended that time for me. I was literally the last one. Dude before me had just done his shit, and they're like, moving on. And I was like, nope. And I was like,
I got something.
Yeah, I was like, I got something. And everyone turned, and they're like, oh, you know, start clapping. They're like, all right, all right. So I go in there and I do my thing, you know, and they're like, oh shit, you know, and hey.
Kill it, man. Kill it.
That's how I ended up on there.
All right. So there's a couple of things that we do on the radio. And I want to get your feedback on this, man. I like to know the last time Dazy Lyn has had a WTF moment. What the? I feel like this episode has a lot of like what the fuck moments. You know what I mean? But for you, what was the last time you just had to say, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Man, every time I fucking drive, these idiots, they
on your way here.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, I'm all what? Like,
are you a bad driver though?
I am the best driver.
That's what bad drivers say.
No. Since high school, I have been known to be the best driver in the friend group, and I've been told this is the getaway driver if we ever needed one. Cause I'm just too alert. I don't know how to explain it, but I have eagle eyes. I see, like, okay, you see how I'm looking at you? I can see my hand right here. Like, my peripheral is crazy.
I don't know. I'm not buying that you're a good driver.
The way that I can parallel park on the first try in between cars.
How many tickets have you gotten in your driving? It's like career, but how many tickets have you gotten?
I mean, for parking, I've had.
You never got a speeding ticket?
I had a speeding ticket once. Long time ago, I had a speeding ticket.
Okay, so you don't have like a record like that.
Nah, I'm the best fucking driver ever. I've literally missed accidents. Like, I've prevented shit because of how quick I am. Like, the reflexes are too quick. I promise you. You know what I would love to do one day is get on a course and like show my shit. Like,
you want to be a NASCAR driver.
Yeah, I used to always tell people that
watch that be your next shit too.
Yeah,
just the way things align for you.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised the next time we talk. That's the shit you into.
Well, actually, after this rap shit, I want to be an interior designer.
So, do you have an end goal in mind for this?
For rap?
For music, yeah.
No, there's no end goal. To me, it's just like, well, wherever the path takes me, you know, and I just want to accomplish as much as I can, as long as I'm happy, you know, as long as I can still live, right? Like I'm not like crazy broke.
What about the end of the year? The year can't end without Dazy Lyn doing what? What do you have your eyes set on at this moment?
Let me see.
This is because
I want to go to New York,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to tap in with On the Radar.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do the Chinatown Sound. I think that's what it's
I'm
called.
familiar with that one.
It's like where they're in Chinatown, New York, and there's a camera on them.
I think I've seen that. Was
acapella.
TF on there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
a whole bunch of them.
I'm about to say
Yeah.
that's where I've seen. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him on there.
Yeah. I want to get on Sway's one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go over there and I'll be like, let's talk about this.
Yeah,
You know,
the
like
story, man, full circle moment.
yes, you know, and let me see. I mean, I want to lock in as many interviews as I can in LA.
Yeah.
You know, you're my first.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
so
that's fire.
shout out to Chuck
I
Dizzle.
appreciate you, man. I
Yes.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
I was asking that because I feel like you're really good at attracting all of these things, and I do that for people so they, can get in the mindset of like seeing what they want and actually getting that. But I feel like from if you haven't been able to tell throughout this conversation, that has been your life journey, like seeing things and just aligning and kind of getting out of your own way. If there's anybody that is kind of going through one of those down moments and they don't have the clarity, what advice could you offer them in this moment? Maybe the you of years ago.
What I can say is that we are all knowing beings. Our gut tells us immediately what is safe and what isn't. And the way that we know that is how we feel after we're in someone's presence. So when you're in someone's presence, are you comfortable or do you have a little bit of anxiety? Do you feel bad afterwards? Do you feel shame afterwards? All these things matter. And these are all very clear indicators as to who I need to keep around and who I need to remove or distance myself from. Just like you can accumulate clutter in your home, you can accumulate clutter energetically, and that will block your blessings. When I tell you that my blessings come when I excuse someone from my life on everything, it happens every single time. God's like, here's a treat for listening, because so many times I haven't listened and I get kicked in the ass for it, So what I can say is if someone's feeling down, they know why.
Yeah.
It's not a mystery. They know exactly why they feel down. And what they need to do is work on their confidence, work on their relationship with God, pray. Prayer is really big. The last time that I lost my mind was during Christmas time. And wow, like when I got home this particular day, I felt completely defeated. And it was one of those moments where you think you're dying. You feel like you're emotionally dying. And for the first time in my life, I called on Jesus Christ. I'd never done that before. I've always spoken to God. That was always my, like my speed dial or whatever.
Right, you go too.
Yeah, it was never Jesus Christ, And that day I said, fuck it. If you're real, pull up because I need somebody. I need you here. And I swear to God, I felt a presence in my room. And I felt the presence and I must have cried for like 13 hours straight. I do not hold tears back. And that's what I learned as well during that journey is tears are meant to cleanse you. That's why they're there. That's why we're able to do that, because that's their function. So I do not suppress my tears or my feelings. I let it out until there's nothing left. And when I tell you from that day, that 13-hour cry for help and talking to Jesus and doing all this shit, I've never felt that way again.
Wow.
I barely cry. I might have like the tear or two, and I'll wipe them off, and I'm like, hey,
Keep pushing.
yeah, we keep going. Yeah. We already know how this works. Tomorrow's a new day. If you can feel bad all you want, but tomorrow's a new day.
Now, before we get out of here, I gotta hear a wild Staples Center story. You said you work security. I wanted to touch on that for a second, but what have you seen at the Staples Center? What's been your experience working there?
Well, I've said already a few Kobe stories. Okay, so this one I don't think I've said yet. So fuck it. We'll say this one. This was Kobe's last game. I'm on the court because my position was always on the court, right? So my job as a security guard is to make sure that the courtside seat holders do not cross this particular line on the court, right? That's strictly NBA basketball players, referees, like nobody. I don't give a shit how famous you are. You cannot cross this line here, right? So plenty of celebrities in the house. It's Kobe's last game, yeah. So I see Jay-Z, and he's having a good time. He's talking to people or whatever, and he crosses the line. And I'm where I'm supposed to be, and then there's a dingbat that's also working with me, pretending not to see him. And he's like, and I was like, oh, you little bitch. Yeah. Like, you're not going to tell him that, like now I got to go and be the bad guy, right? Because let me tell you, I was the bad guy for so many people. I have endless stories of getting cussed out by certain people, getting pushed by certain people, certain rappers.
Word.
Yes, pushed, okay? Because you ruffled some feathers as a security.
Some egos out there.
Yeah, hell yeah. So, I was like, God damn it, like... and I was like, and he was, he would turn, didn't see anything. I was like, all right, like, and I know I got eyes on me at this moment, because it's just too much of a big game, and like I'm always trying to secure my spot on that court, right? So I was like, all right, here I go. So I go over and I was like, I'm so sorry. Do you think you could go past that line over there? And like my hand is doing this, right? But I'm not actually touching him. Like I'm just kind of like, do you think? And like my hand's like in the back of his back, right? I'm like, could you go over there, right? And like he's talking, he's saying something so loud. It's fucking, I don't know how many thousands, 24,000 people there. I don't fucking know. And it's so loud, so much going on. I can't hear what he's saying, but he's muttering something under his breath, right? And out of nowhere, I hear him go, you ain't got to push me. Like, I don't know what he says, right? And I stop and I look at him and I was like, I didn't push you. And he was like, that's embarrassing. He's like, you could just tell me to move. He's like, don't push me. He was like, that's embarrassing. And I was like, I would never push you. Can you just stand on that side, please? And he like, yeah. And he like got so angry with me, and he sat down in the seats, and he's giving me the stank eye. God. And what'd you think? I'm like, like I'm doing the same thing. Like we over here having a little staring contest, right? And I was like, that's crazy. All the lyrics that I know of your shit, and you over here telling me not to push you when I would, I was like, bro, like I've been singing your songs word for word since I was a little girl.
You just lost a fan.
I mean, I was still a fan, I still song cry it out,
but
like
that's wild.
Right. So he's mad, right? And like we're having like a little like, I mean, I don't know if he remembers, but I remember we were looking at each other, and he was giving me little nasty smirks, And here's the thing: I spot Lamar. Was it Lamar? Yeah, it was Lamar Odom and Kanye West, not in the court side, but like first or second row of those first rows, right? So they're not supposed to be courtside, right? So they come onto the court during halftime, And the guest services that are in charge of letting people onto the court let them on. And I was like, hey, that's not my job. You know, I was like, my only job is to make sure they don't cross this fucking line right here. Right. So they walk onto the court and they're having fun. They're mingling with everybody. They go straight to Jay-Z. They're, right. And like they're having fun. All of a sudden, Kanye spills over onto the line that you're not supposed to cross. And I was like, shit,
here we go again.
I was like, if Jay-Z fucking, you know, I was like, if Jay-Z fucking just almost cussed me out right now, like fucking Kanye. And I was like, all right, man. So I worked the courage to go over there. And as I'm walking over there, Jay-Z's like this, looking at me as I'm going over to tell Kanye. And I go over to Kanye and I was like, I'm so sorry, but do you think you could please just step back? And he looks at me. He hops over the line, and he's like, "Whoa!" You know, and he's like, "Am I good right here? I'm good." You know, and he's like, "Don't hurt me now." And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "You're perfect." And I looked at Jay-Z, and I was like,
"Should be more like yeah,
you should be more like
be more like yeah."
Right. So you know. It was one of those things where I was like, yo, I would have thought Kanye would have cussed me out, you know?
Right.
But it was Jay-Z that was like not feeling me, you know? And yeah, he definitely had a little bit of energy for me that day.
That is wild because you've heard Hov is so calm and collected, and Ye's the other way, so that you get two different experiences from the other part.
He literally was like, he jumped and was like, "Don't hurt me."
My bad.
Yeah, and it was such a like playful experience, you know, and I was like, oh, thank God. Yeah, like
I'd have two experiences.
Because I mean,
like
you on the court, you know, like
you gonna get me in trouble.
Like, what's the big deal? You just go. I don't care how rich I am. Like, you want me to scoot over? I'll scoot over. You know.
Dazy Lyn, LA baby. Now, what do you feel like your business card track is? And we'll end on this note. What do you feel like the song is the best representation of who Dazy Lyn is? That you would love for people to press play on and kind of get a better insight of who you are
on this album.
On this album, your business card track.
One fucking song. Oh my God. You know what? That song with Mozzy has always been my favorite. Just the things that I talk about, the way that I say it makes me cry. Even to this day, when I'm driving, like I just have tears down my face, you know? So definitely the song with Mozzy. It's called This Time.
Okay.
That's my favorite, you know?
I would tell you one I would pick for you.
Okay, let's go.
I would pick From the Land, only because you go by the LA baby and you reference so much From the Land. It's an upbeat track.
It's
LA.
Like it's all LA shit,
It was even funny as I was like, oh shit, she even gave a shout out to Big Boy.
I told him.
That is funny as hell,
I told him.
dude.
I told Big Boy and Corrupt. I told both of them, like, you know, I give you a shout out in my song, and both of them were like, oh, that's love. Yeah. That's dope, you know? But let's see if we can get a little cameo at some point, you know, because I'm working on that music video. That day for my listening sesh, we shot something, you know, and I'm working my way there. Yeah,
that was one of one of the stand out ones for me when I was in there when you were pressing play. I was like, no, I like the energy of this one and how it feels for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but I love your story. I love your journey, and I love the fact that it seems like you don't take any of this for granted. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's been a short journey relatively from when you started, but so much has happened. And I love that you have kind of been able to take us through that whole process. Is there anything that the people need to know about Dazy Lyn that we haven't already talked about as of yet?
Did I mention I'm a little psychic?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, I still do hair. You know, so I
how do you navigate that with doing?
I cut hair 3 days a week.
Gotcha. Is the goal to move away from that, or you still are 100% with that as well?
I would love to be a full-time content creating rapper.
Okay.
You know, like I would love to do that. You know,
but bills got to get paid.
I don't have no sugar daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Are you putting a request out there?
If you don't want no sugar, yes.
I don't know how that's gonna work.
I'm stingy with the sugar, you know. So, But yeah, you know, it's like that's how I make a living. That's how I eat. All of that goes right back into my music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
clockwork.
Man. So it's not that I don't love doing hair. It's just that was just one of the gifts God gave me to get by. You know, it's like that's what I've always known how to do. You know what I love about doing hair is bringing back someone's confidence, making them feel happy about looking at themselves. I've always been big on makeovers. Like I've always daydreamed about having a makeover show. Like when I was little, I used to be like, I'm gonna pick the bummiest bitch off the street and like and be like, I see potential in you. I'm going to take you and do your hair like this and give you this haircut and put you in these clothes and give you these nails and the makeup, you know, and you're
maybe you could turn the content into that now.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like editing stuff like that and doing.
You want to be a content creator?
No, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Hey, align to that shit, Dazy. Okay, don't try to veer off. Oh, I can't. You as much shit that you done been through that's a line that can be something that you can do for sure.
You know, I did it once before. I remember I had this like giveaway. It was years ago before I was doing music. I had this big giveaway on Instagram, and it was like, oh, you know, follow me and you enter this raffle. And I did this huge like makeover where I had girls bringing their clothes from their clothing brand and like shoes and makeup, and you know, like we all collaborated on this makeover, and it was kind of like my mini TV show that I always daydreamed about. Since I was little, I always daydream about shit like that, you know? Man,
Dazy Lyn, the LA baby. Go grab the project right now. I appreciate you pulling up and making this your first stop. And just I look forward to seeing everything else you got going on, man.
Thank you.
Of course, man.
God bless you.
God bless you too, man.
You one of the realest motherfuckers in this shit. Straight up. That. I promise you. I've met quite a few, and you're definitely the one that makes me feel at home.
Oh, wow. That's why it's homegrown. See? Dazy Lyn, thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. Chuck Dizzle, live and direct. The LA baby is here. Support that, man. We'll catch y'all next time.